been just a week since I launched Filming Florida, and it's been a really amazing experience to begin this entire project at Little Gasparilla Island on the west coast of Florida. I grew up going here as a kid on weekends, and it's a place where I really fell in love with the natural landscape and natural history of Florida. One of the big components of Filming Florida is a daily species, photographed on a white background as part of the Meet Your Neighbors project. The Meet Your Neighbors project is all about bringing attention to local common species. Since I had really fell in love with Florida's landscape and learned to really love natural history here at Little Gasparilla Island, I wanted to start here, collecting my daily species. Now, as you can see here, my wife is filling a 10-gallon fish tank with very clear water, and I'm setting up flashes because Meet Your Neighbors has a very specific photographic protocol. Basically, every species is photographed on a uniform white background, and the whole idea here is to draw attention to the individuals and the species itself, rather than overlooking what would normally be considered a common species. Now, this simple studio is very portable, yet it also can get quite complicated when you're setting it up in a moving boat. Carrie did most of the capturing for this particular part of the species as I was setting up and doing the film work. Basically, we were trying to catch a wide diversity of fish. At this particular location, we caught mangrove snapper, gag grouper, and nearby we caught spotted sea trout, a diamond lizardfish, and a couple other things. We worked hard to develop a system that produced the least stress to these animals. Now, part of the Meet Your Neighbors project does involve removing the animal from its environment in order to photograph it in this artificial environment on a white background. Sometimes you can photograph it in situ like a plant, but often for fish, you really have to remove it, place it in a tank, photograph it, and then release it as quick as possible. What we do is we catch the fish, place it in the tank, and then as quickly as possible set up our white background with our two flashes. Now, since we were fishing in a high boat traffic area, we often had some pretty serious waves to contend with, but fortunately we never dropped any equipment, nothing ever got wet, or at least nothing was wet enough that it was damaged. Once everything was set up, I was able to spend usually about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, photographing the fish. If the fish began to look stressed, we always released it immediately, even if I wasn't done photographing. It's really amazing to spend some time looking at these common species, many species of which I've spent a lot of time fishing, catching, cleaning, and even eating. And it was really cool to see them up close and personal, and really start to notice details that I'd never noticed before. The Meet Your Neighbors project is really about drawing attention to these common species in ways you never would have considered them in their natural habitat. Throughout this project, I'm going to photograph and post one species a day, and that's going to result in an archive of over 1,000 species found across Florida. It's my hope that these images will really draw attention to the diversity of Florida and make us look at species in ways we never have before. And just this first week, I've learned a ton of natural history about these species. I feel like I've gotten a great start on the project. Thanks, and I'll see you next week.